I've had a rough relationship with Pixar over the years. Sometimes I have really enjoyed some of their films, for example, Monsters Inc., one of my favourite Disneys. Sometimes it's been hit or miss. I recently watched Cars for the first time and kind of fell in love with it, and very quickly watched Cars 2, which I also enjoyed. Before watching Cars 3, I thought I would check out Planes. I was keen to see if it would kind of feel the same or if it would feel like a copycat of Cars but with a slightly different narrative. And I really enjoyed it. I don't think it's quite as strong as Cars. I didn't enjoy the animation quite as much because I love the design of the cars. There are cars in this, of course, but I don't think it lends itself quite as beautifully to the aeroplanes. But it's still a joy to watch. This was released in 2013, directed by Clay Hall. We have a fantastic voice cast, including Dane Cook, Stacy Keach, voice of Skipper, Brad Garrett, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, John Cleese. Obviously, John Ratzenberger is in this. He voices a character called Harland. That's one of my favourite things when watching a Disney Pixar I haven't seen. Which character will be voiced by John Ratzenberger, because he's in every single one. But thankfully there's a lot more to this than just John Ratzenberger. Now the premise is slightly the same as Cars, insofar as it involves a race. This young crop dusting aeroplane really wants to be a high flyer, even though he's scared of heights, and he wants to compete in this around the world aeroplane race. But of course he's not ready for that yet, and some of the other planes tell him that he's just a crop duster, he's never going to amount to anything, he shouldn't give it a try. But he's determined, and with some encouragement, Dusty is determined to make this work. He's going to take part in the Wings Across the World race. But will he be the underdog, or will it be true that he is just a crop duster and never should have tried to be something that he isn't? To be honest, it could have gone both ways. For example, The Lion King do something with this. Kiara wants to not be a princess, but it's in her blood. But it could also go the other way. Dusty, the message here could be, maybe Dusty can achieve more. We are more than what we were born to be. Disney are very back and forth with that message. We are who we are and we should be proud of it, or we are more than who we are. I won't say which one this is, because it might spoil the narrative a little bit, but I will say he does obviously take part in the race. Will he succeed? I'm not going to tell you. We meet a lot of interesting characters along the way, both the other crop aeroplanes and kind of Dusty's friends, and the aeroplanes that are competing in the race. A lot of great personalities. Not many of the plane designs made me that excited, whereas compared to Cars, I loved seeing the different designs of the animated cars. That was something I loved. I thought it was a really, exciting concept of seeing how they were going to do an Audi and a pickup truck and, a sports car and all of these different kinds of cars. Whereas this one, I didn't really get that enthusiasm. I didn't really see any airplane design that I thought looked amazing. Nothing wrong with the animation style, but it's just not quite as captivating. The narrative itself, I think, flowed very well. It got to the point quite quickly while still giving us a bit of time to get to know the characters and to get to know what Dusty's kind of day-to-day life is. There wasn't anything about it that I think was bad. The way the narrative progressed, I thought the pacing was very good. The mix of races and the time in between the races, actually surprisingly quick. For example, if you compare it to the first Cars film, which I'm doing because it's kind of, they're not the same. They're quite different, but it's a similar concept. In between the races in Cars, there's quite a bit of time. This one, it's a lot more action-packed, a lot more fast-paced, and it seems to move much more quickly. And I really liked that. That's something that I really appreciated with it. So there's nothing wrong with this. The voice acting is great. The animation style, although not as good, I still really liked. The opening animation, the opening scene, visually very beautiful. Character development, really liked the character writing, very good. I can't really fault it. There's nothing about it that I would specifically change. I guess just because I don't like it as much as I liked Cars 1 and 2. Doesn't mean Planes is a bad film. It's one that I'm happy to recommend. Might not watch it again, whereas I think I probably would, and in fact probably will watch Cars again. Planes, not so much, but I enjoyed it. Definitely a good installment in the series.